feel like I should open this one because you're going to sound the best on this episode.
By all means,
So
go right
I'm
ahead.
just going to go with something like, welcome back to the Terribly Vexed Podcast. I'm Justin. With me is Josh.
Hey, how's it going?
What do you think?
I like it.
All right.
Welcome back to the program, everyone.
It's been a while.
Yeah. How long has it been exactly
I think
since
it's-
our last upload?
It's been like a month.
Too long.
At least a month, right?
Well-
Last one was with Ty.
It wasn't supposed to take this long.
No. We attempted it once, fairly early on, and
So
didn't pan out.
it was going to be a terribly topical, another one of those.
Yeah.
A current events podcast.
Right.
And it was going to take place within a week of the October 7th attack by Hamas on Israel. And it was going to be very current. But it's okay that it's taken this long. We've seen some more stuff come out.
Yeah.
It's okay. It kind of works out like that sometimes. I'll explain the process of making a podcast. We're not professional broadcasters.
We are also busy folk.
Jobs,
Hobbies.
depression,
Yeah.
drinking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going on.
Not to mention the holidays that are around. We went
Which
through
doesn't really
Thanksgiving.
Matter anyway. Doesn't really matter to me.
Are you not thankful for this country, Josh?
I don't subscribe to holidays anymore, to use one of your words.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. I don't subscribe to it.
Thanksgiving or
I
any
do.
holiday?
I'm just kidding. I don't
Okay.
poor, so I don't buy gifts or anything. But
Yeah. I don't like the pressure of gift giving. Really does bother me. If it was up to me, wipe Christmas right off the calendar.
'cause I don't know. I don't know what to buy.
I know. It's horrible. And it really, in this day and age, it's all gift cards. You might as well just give everybody $50 and just hand $50 around. And
$50.
I don't know. I just threw it.
No,
Take
but,
the zero off.
Yeah, so we tried. Let's just go ahead and confess to it. We tried to do this episode.
Uh-huh.
We've had probably 2 or 3 of these out of 28, now 29 episodes when we get this one completed today, and we're going to do it.
If we do.
We're going to.
Okay.
I feel good about this.
Yeah.
It's all working.
We're
Things are
firing on all
the
cylinders.
gears are
Mm-hmm.
everything's
We're
anyway.
lubed.
We're lubed
Everything's
up.
moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just not working. Sometimes I feel like it's just not working, and I feel like that's what was happening last time.
Well,
You still have that one, right? You still have the 20 minutes or so we did?
I was thinking I might just interject it right here.
Just throw it in there?
Yep.
It's not that it wasn't entirely working, but like I said, ultimately I think it's going to work out because there's been some new stuff kind of come up in the news recently, and it will kind of just add to what we're going to be talking about today, which was the October 7th attack. But sometimes, like I said, we've had a couple of these and they just don't pan out. And one of us calls it. We just call it.
Yeah.
Like, this is not working. Fuck it. We're just going to have to try it again.
The last time we did this and you did call it, I thought you were joking every time until you took your headphones off, and then
When the headphones come off, right?
God damn it, he really is serious.
Yeah.
All right.
It just wasn't working.
Yeah, it was pretty funny though.
I don't know.
That moment, like
That's
that happening, is
subjective.
looking back.
That's subjective, whether or not that was funny.
Well,
I don't know if anybody would find that.
how about this?
And let's not forget also that the other
Let's
part
not
of this,
forget.
the other part of this podcast is supposed to be informative.
Right.
And that was supposed to just be a quick one. So we're trying to get this, we'll try and slog through this information today.
We'll keep this one under 4 hours.
Yeah,
What do you
it
think?
will definitely be under 4 hours.
All right.
I'm not going to, not going to go into great detail today because we're going to kind of be bouncing around quite enough to, I think, bring the listener to a reasonable conclusion about the hypotheses we're going to be throwing out there today, or at least the one I'm going to be throwing out there today, because it's important to know also you don't give a shit about any of this stuff.
Well, I'm not going to say at all any shit. I don't.
Real world stuff.
Here's the thing. I think this is how I feel about it. Governments are going to do what governments are going to do, and I think everybody knows that. And there's nothing we can do about it. We're just lowly little pieces of shit trying to live.
Peasants.
Right? We can't do a damn thing about it. It sucks that what's going on everywhere. And I think you might be onto something with, higher powers in charge, not gods.
Earthly powers
Shitheads,
at this point still.
Rich folk, perhaps.
Yeah.
Government. Agencies.
Yeah.
There's operations going down. There's plans in the shadows.
Agendas. You're coming around finally, I think.
I've never once denied that, ever.
No, not at all.
I 100% agree with you. It's happening. It's just, I guess in the end, it just annoys me that it's going down. It's just making everything so much. We're all trying to get through this bullshit called life together as one. And these assholes make it so, they're just making problems. They're just causing a big stink. Can't we all just get along?
They're working against us.
That's something I just came up with.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's why I don't really dive deep in these. You're into this. It gets you off a little.
That's where I spend the majority of my conspiratorial time.
Right. And I think that's the beauty of this.
But not
thing.
not the entire amount.
Right.
Of my time. You're always going on about your crazy, wacky, whatever it is you got.
Yeah.
Shit I've never heard of. We were talking about this before we started. I'm always looking at crazy shit. There's a lot of crazy shit out there.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot to sort of wade through, to sort of
lot.
It's a forest. You have to kind of navigate, you don't. So it's real easy for people to kind of, I don't know, maybe get distracted.
Yeah. I'd say you're dead on.
So, yeah, that's where I spend a good portion of my time. The real stuff that
you quote it, but it is real.
It is.
Israel.
It is.
Israel.
It is real.
See what I did?
It is real.
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean. I'm not denying any of this.
Like, okay, so I was going to ask you, by the way, if you have read any good books lately on this, any topics that maybe, I know you don't do books.
I do a lot of books, but fiction, sci-fi.
Nothing related to this.
Okay. Or even my shit. I don't read Roswell books or whatever the hell, except for that.
Or audiobook it.
No. Yeah, I don't do that either.
I mean, we'll still say that's reading the book, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
You're still consuming the information.
Right.
God, I want people to get away from this short form TikTok bullshit where they just I swear to God, that's part of the plan too. Just get people to you throw out a few pieces of information, that's all they've got on it.
Just roll with it.
And then they're fine. Oh, I know about whatever.
Yeah.
Because I watched a TikTok or some sort of a stupid reel.
We all know I'm guilty of that as well.
I mean, I am too, but at the same time, also consuming documentaries and books and stuff on old books. It's kind of interesting too, and important, I think, to get books and material that kind of goes back further. Before the current era.
Yeah,
you have to kind of wonder about agendas there too. I think why something may be written, who it's coming from.
Oh yeah, who allowed it to come out?
Right.
Yeah.
Like documents. That's why you're always so why would they release this document if
I know.
Why would they want somebody to know?
That's what makes me think it's fine though.
Depending on what it is.
Well, yeah.
I did a book on Celts recently. The Celts. What do I think about the Celts? So I got a book, 12 Hours of Celts, right? Pretty good shit. I didn't know anything about them. What's that?
It was good. I thought you were going to go the other way with that.
It was. Just because I didn't know anything about that time period.
Yeah.
And then, talking about the woo-woo stuff there that you enjoy. I'm doing an Atlantis book. It's the one that This is the Atlantis. The title of the book is the Atlantis and the Antediluvian World, which I think Graham Hancock took a bunch of his stuff from.
So how old is this book?
1800s.
The book is from the 1800s.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
Huh.
I just started that. It's like 14 hours. Just started it. You know, I'm an Atlantis guy. You are too.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in this world, to some degree, Atlantis is going to be...
It's one of those things that how could you not be interested in something like that?
Right. Lost civilizations.
Yeah. It's cool. It's just a cool topic.
Right.
You know? It's fun for everybody.
Real world stuff. Spend a lot of time there. Operations that have happened. And then the other side of that, where I spend a great deal of time, is ancient history. God, I love it so much.
Yeah.
Do you spend any time on that yourself?
Very, very minimal. But whenever I see like a documentary or something about it, I do really love it. I just never seek it out or go. It's like when I say I like a band, I know their biggest hits, but I never dig deep. I never look for anything else. Yeah. Yeah, kind of that same way. I don't actively search for knowledge about that stuff, but I do dig it whenever I see it, if that makes any sense.
Just when it pops up on your radar.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
I spend a lot of time on that too. Ancient mysteries.
Yeah.
Lost civilizations.
Now, I saw a video. Now, this is going right into your minimal information that you get from Instagram kind of thing. There's a guy out there. Don't remember his name. Saw it weeks ago. But he was doing theories.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. It was his theories about how they were able to move those giant blocks of stone to build like the pyramids and stuff. And he rigged up these things like flotation, like logs pretty much on rocks, and they could roll them up water into, I don't know, have you seen that at all?
I've seen a bunch of those, yeah.
It's just interesting. I love that stuff. Theories about how, I mean, I think it's aliens. How could it not be? Lasers.
You're an ancient aliens guy.
I do find, I don't watch it on a regular basis, but I love it. Tsoukalos. I love him.
Was that the guy's name?
Giorgio, the guy with the crazy hair.
Yeah.
Who's like meme guy and all that. Aliens.
Everything.
That's his thing, yeah.
That is not me.
I know. And not really me. I say that, but I do want it to be all aliens.
Which is good, because that means we're kind of covering both sides here.
That's what makes this great.
Somebody may listen for your stupid shit and then want...
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No,
I'm
it's
just
all right.
kidding,
it's
man.
It's totally all right.
Because I completely subscribe to some crazy things, too. I do.
Oh, I know. And
that's okay.
I mean, you're a big...
time travel.
Yeah, definitely that. You nut over that when you
get me
see
started
that stuff.
on some time travel.
Yeah.
And I just think that there's actually a foundation, a base in reality, right? That could actually explain some of those things, especially if you're talking about airplanes flying and compasses going crazy. That's some sort of a magnetic anomaly. There could be something to that. I don't know. It comes from a basis of reality where these things actually happen, like the Bermuda Triangle, for example.
Right.
Which we all love.
You talking about electronic fog?
Electronic fog.
Yeah.
That eventually, maybe sometime, we'll do an episode on. Talk about that.
Yeah, we could just incorporate that with the larger time slip. I think that was our plan, wasn't it? Just time anomalies or something like that.
Yeah, well, originally I guess it was more magnetic anomalies.
Okay.
Electronic fog. It's what that one guy that experienced it calls it.
The Australian guy?
No, he's just an American dude.
Okay.
He's written a couple of books on it. Can't remember his name either right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But, that's some pretty crazy shit. And you're kind of wondering, how can you believe in that shit and then try and bring some real world stuff to the table like we're doing today?
Right.
I don't know. It's crazy, but we're doing it.
That's the kind of shit we do here.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Let me ask you...
You got some notes over there. What's all that stuff?
Well, I got a couple examples of some slacktivism. I'm sure you're familiar with that term if you listen to this.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
I mean,
there's a lot of it going around these days.
This whole thing over there, this is just perfect for these TikTok or Instagram or Twitter.
Are you referring to Ukraine? Which was one of the first?
What? That's old news. Who cares
Remember
about
that one?
now?
What happened there?
Who knows? Is it still going on?
I think so.
Don't know.
We still sending money? You're referring to Israel right now, though.
Oh yeah, 100. Yeah, that's like
and the Palestinians.
Yeah.
Gaza.
Didn't Susan Sarandon just gotten some hot water? Didn't she? She said something. You know, when I got it right here, I was going to save this all for after, but
you were saving it for after?
Just to bring up some examples of idiocy.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to talk about that right
No,
now.
I don't care at all. This is great stuff. I love this guy. I mean, this is a 77-year-old woman, actress, who thinks she's
relevant.
Well, but why do actors think they're like Sean Penn? I saw a thing with Matt Stone, Trey Parker talking about him going to Iraq, and he got pissed that he was a puppet in their Team America movie. We've seen that, and he sent a letter to his publisher or to his agent to be published, like shitting all over Matt and Trey. Then Matt and Trey got it, and they're like reading it, laughing, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't a letter to us. He actually wants this to be published. This is ridiculous." But Sean Penn does his whole. Have you ever been to Iraq? I've been to Iraq. I know what it's like over there. And then in the letter, he said
he is
they
a
don't
douchebag.
Yeah, great actor though.
I mean, I guess.
I think I just don't see why these actors think they are all hot shit.
Nobody cares.
I know.
Nobody cares about their opinion at all. Nobody cares nobody cares what I'm saying, you're saying.
Yeah. It's just because they have a little bit of notoriety and a voice.
They take a camera crew with them.
Yeah.
And then, I'm feeding the children of whatever. I'm at the hospital in whatever country for photo ops.
I guess I only think it might be getting the word out a little more than me or you doing the ice bucket challenge. But that's about it. I don't think it's really helping at all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody really gives a shit what Sean Penn says.
Yeah. No.
Or any of them, Susan Sarandon, like what you're talking about right now.
Yeah. I guess she was at a pro-Palestinian rally.
Okay.
And she said something that the Jewish people are now getting a taste of what it feels like to be a Muslim in this country, so often subjected to violence. And they didn't like that at all.
I wouldn't think so. I think the ADL would probably get involved.
Yeah. Well, her
boycott her.
Her agency dropped her, and she was forced to apologize. But Josh, don't worry. She's going to do better in the future.
She apologized that quick.
Yeah.
Well, that was fast.
Yeah. I mean, but again, 77.
Is she still...
What else is she doing?
In Hollywood? Is she still doing anything in the acting world?
I don't know.
I mean, if she didn't have a career, I mean, she's got plenty of money, right?
Yep.
Then one could argue that she may need to retract her statement because of the industry she's in, which some might...
I think I see where you're going with this.
I won't finish that sentence. It's to protect our own little podcast.
We should have got tie-in for this one.
No.
Okay. All right. I'll cut that part out.
It's going to be too long as it is anyway, probably.
Yeah.
I got pages upon pages over here.
Oh, I know.
Don't worry, we're going to zip through them pretty fast. We're going at a pretty good clip today, so all is well.
Yeah. Can I just...
The vibe is right. It's right. Everything is right.
I'm having a blast.
Planets have aligned for this when it's supposed to happen.
It's flowing.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
What else you got there? Anything else in your dirty 30 notes that you want to...
Did you hear about Cynthia Nixon doing the Lord's work?
Who the hell is Cynthia Nixon?
She was in Sex and the City. She's an actress.
Okay. Never watched it.
Yep. Well, there was a...
Wait, you sent me a text about this.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to look her up.
She's going on a hunger strike.
Oh, nice.
To force Biden.
Nice.
To, take some action.
Oh, good. That'll work. I think that'll do it. I'll go on one, too. You want to join us?
Well, we do it like she did, which is just for 2 days.
That's it?
That's it.
I'll do 3 days.
There was a group. Yeah, you just I think that's fasting, isn't it? Like that's just now that's all the rage these days. Bill Maher's talking about it with Woody Harrelson.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, fasting's the shit.
Intermittent fasting, you could just do it all the time.
Yeah, he does it like...
Or as I call it, skipping a meal. That's all you're doing.
I hate it. Never do. That's why I got a heart monitor on right now. So.
You do have a heart monitor on right now.
I do. But yeah, I just thought that was, that was funny. They were doing it for 5 days, this group, and she joined in for 2, just to help out.
Joined in, like, let me pick it up now, since.
Yeah. And talk about slacktivism. The group did. They joined in prayers and songs, held vigils and conversations about the conflict.
That's what we're doing.
Well, wait till you hear this. Gave speeches and, most importantly, painted red teardrops on a banner. Yeah, they're doing great. They're helping out. So,
oh Jesus,
isn't that ridiculous?
That's absurd.
Yeah, and I don't know what that is. I get what's Biden supposed to do when he see? Oh my, how many red drops they put on there? All right, let's call it off.
And what was it supposed to call off? Supposed to stop Israel from bombing the shit out of...
They wanted a ceasefire, which I think did happen, didn't it, recently?
It did, but there's been...
Did they force Biden
Was it the teardrops that got that ceasefire going?
That's what it was.
Oh, that's a good question.
I know.
One we can't possibly tackle today here, but...
Yeah. Then I looked up slacktivism, just doing some Googling at work. It was a busy day. And I have a little thing. It's a pretty good. It sums it right up.
Okay.
Because I know I've talked about it, but never really gave a good definition. Slacktivism is the practice of supporting a political or social cause through social media or online petitions and involves very little effort or commitment. It thrives on Instagram and Twitter, now X, which allow people to show support or advocate through a hashtag or a like. It is most evident when people express their support for a cause by changing their profile picture or by forwarding a message.
I love it.
Slacktivism can also mean that you do in fact support a cause, but do not necessarily engage in making real change happen over a long period.
Or do anything that actually helps in any way, shape, or form.
And you know what? To be fair, they gave an example. I brought it up, the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Which was so stupid.
Very stupid, minimal effort, kind of fun to do. It raised 150 million cannolis dollars.
Okay.
So that was their one anomaly from slacktivism.
So
the Ice Bucket Challenge.
When the Ice Bucket Challenge happened, you were supposed to do the ice bucket thing, cold water, ice water, whatever, and then give money as well. The whole point of that is that they're attaching it to a video where people keep doing it and doing it. But at the same time, you're not supposed to avoid giving money to a cause. That's what I initially thought that was. I was like, so if you do it, you can avoid giving money?
Yeah, you just waste some water.
Sending off to somebody else that's supposed to calling somebody else out?
Is that the one where they nominated the next person to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That makes sense, I guess. That's fun.
Yeah, it was just fun, easy.
But the whole giving money to things, I guess, it's you can't always be assured that your money's going where it needs to be going.
Yeah.
Especially since some of those things, the administrative costs for, always show up, what do they say?
Yeah.
Certain organizations, 75 cents of a dollar goes to administrative costs.
Yeah.
That's just paying salaries for people.
I know. It's stupid.
Like the Salvation Army and shit like that. Why does it even have a CEO? He shouldn't even have a CEO or but he's getting $1 million salaries, and a good portion of the money isn't even making it to people that need the help. Yeah,
it seems like some type of they all seem like scams. They got a nice little logo.
Well, a good portion of them are.
I know. It's I don't do it at all. None of them. None of them.
Do you have any more slacktivism examples that you'd like to share here today?
Not really. I mean, other than the usual, we see a lot of bumper stickers, a lot of flags in
I send them to
yards. Oh, God, yeah.
Every time I see one on a truck or a car.
Yes, you do. It really just bugs me.
Yeah, and it's especially well, we'll get into it once we get out of this whole thing. But
yeah. I've said it on here before, but Anthony Jeselnik, that comedian, he has a good bit about that whole thing. He doesn't say slacktivism, but it's, when you post some thoughts and prayers with Israel or whatever it is, really what they're saying is, don't forget about me today. And like it sums it right up.
Injecting yourself into it. You're putting yourself out there into it.
Yep.
Hey, look what I care about.
Exactly. But you're not doing shit.
Yeah.
But I did what I just wrote in a definition there, the profile picture that I know it sums it right up.
And people get they get bullied. There's social pressure to adopt whatever the newest thing is.
Yep.
And if you don't add that picture, a square, a black square to your, you're not helping the cause.
You're a racist.
Right. It's all me now.
Yep.
I'm the one that's caused all these problems.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah.
Stupid. I saw Colin Quinn talking about what things are coming to, and he was saying nobody's just a bleeding heart liberal or an idiot Republican anymore. You're either a racist or a groomer. Like, that's it. Then you back people into a corner, and they have nowhere to go from there, so they get upset and pissed off.
No middle ground anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep. I like Colin Quinn. He's good.
Does he have a show? Does he have a podcast?
I don't know. I don't think so. But he's got a very good book called Overstated. I did listen to that one. He just goes through all 50 states and just gives them a good little roast. But it's also very factual. There's a lot of facts involved with his stuff, which is what I like.
I like those.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Adam, what were you saying?
No, go ahead.
No, by all means.
Well, I just listened to an Adam Carolla podcast. I brought this up to you earlier.
Oh, yeah. What were you going to say about that?
I find Adam Carolla a very funny guy. I think he's very humorous. Can come off, he's a wise man, I think. He's got a lot of good ideas. And he said something about Israel, the Jewish folk in Israel, right? There's a beautiful strip of desert underneath California, Baja California, wide open. They should just move there. 2 oceans, same climate, desert.
It's essentially sort of the same strip of land. It looks very similar.
Yeah, and you're not living you're not surrounded by assholes that hate you. And you're going to have to give up your homeland. You shouldn't have to.
It's not the Holy Land, though.
Right. But 50 years, everybody will like it better. Just give it 50 years. It'll be all right. And yes, they should not have to. But it's like he equated it with living with a roommate that you wake up and he's standing over your bed with holding a machete, but you don't want to lose the security deposit. So you stick around. And I like that.
Well, it's, they didn't have it for a long time. They lost it a long time ago.
Well, maybe.
And we're not going to get into the whole, building, creation of the State of Israel in this episode either. That happened in 1947, post-World War II. That's something we're not going to be delving into today.
Is it a coincidence that the Roswell crash also took place in 1947?
That's quite a couple of dots.
I'm just saying.
You're trying to connect there.
We'll get to the bottom of that. There is a connection.
I can't wait to hear it.
Well, there is a literal connection, dude.
That's wild.
We'll get there. Chat GPT will help me with that.
You start working on that
Next
right now?
episode.
Because I have... Okay. Okay. Thank God.
Yeah, we'll do a whole episode.
Good.
Yep.
Well, do you have anything else for this? Do we have any sort of... I don't know. Any sort of like...
Your boy died?
My boy.
Henry Kissinger.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to think of some current events for this Dirty 30 here.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was any sort of
topical
information we needed to share about the podcast itself.
I can mention that I was on another podcast.
Right, yeah, you could do that.
My brother has a podcast, Jacob Perleone. It's called Nearly Famous. I did an episode of that. Talked about this very podcast on it.
How many episodes does he have of his?
It just started. Pretty fresh.
10? 7? 8, 9, 10?
Something like that, yeah. But, he's a musician in Nashville, and It's pretty much, usually it's just him babbling. It's like a live journal almost.
I see.
But every once in a while he's got some guests on there, and I was one.
I will
on Thanksgiving Day
post an excerpt from that podcast on our Instagram page. Yeah. That'd be a good place to share it, I think.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Nice little clip
of
you talking.
About us.
Yeah. Come full circle there.
Yep. It'll be great.
No other housekeeping issues here today on this, as far as that goes, though, just to talk about. That is a shame about Henry Kissinger, though. Just glad you brought that up.
Yeah. I just saw your
heartbroken.
What you posted on our Instagram page today.
Oh, you just saw that?
Yeah.
And there was another thing on there. It was David Rockefeller talking about overpopulation.
Yeah.
I love these old clips, these old rich bastards. He made it to like 101. He passed away in 2017. He was a real son of a bitch, too. Nice long life.
Mm-hmm.
I'd seen some, I don't know if it's accurate or not, but they said he'd had numerous heart transplants. You may be lucky to get one.
Transplants?
Yeah. Transplants, like heart transplants.
Wow. I thought you could only get one. Like, your body couldn't handle more than just
normally
one. Like, physically, you couldn't handle it.
Right. I don't know if it's true. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Like, I'd seen where people had thought that he had numerous heart transplants. You have to know that people that are in positions like Henry Kissinger, powerful, rich, wealthy people like Rockefellers, they get health care that's maybe a little better than ours.
Smidge better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they may get extra hearts taken from God knows where.
Well, they have
some
those
sort of organ harvest, some more organ trade that's taking place in the third world. Perhaps they just kidnap somebody and steal some kidneys if they need them.
I was listening to something, and
or grow them now. Who knows? They probably can grow them in a petri dish.
What the hell was I forgot what it was I was listening. They touched on this, and it was about billionaires like that having a guy. They'll pay $500,000 a year for him to keep his body tip-top shape. But if they need something, it's theirs.
I mean,
maybe not a heart because that'll kill them, but I wouldn't
be surprised.
Yeah,
a kidney.
That's not a bad deal, really.
I mean, if you were offered to,
I might take it.
It's too late now, probably.
Oh God, yeah, my heart's on its last leg, and I almost killed my liver, probably.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I'm just $500,000 a year, give or take a little bit there.
I wouldn't even think that they would in those higher echelons of existence. I mean, they live on another planet. They do things that we, could never do.
Yeah.
So I would say that I don't even know if that would, because that sounds almost like, you could make that illegal. You could write some paperwork up for that and make a contract.
Like
I would say they would just go about getting it however they could get it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably be, in the long run, easier and probably cheaper just to go kidnap a person from wherever.
Yeah. I mean, there's 7-8 billion people.
Yeah.
I mean, and the irony of him talking on the Instagram thing that I put up, that clip, was him talking about overpopulation and the detriment to which, industrialization is destroying the earth. He's a fucking Rockefeller. And their whole fortune was made from
what it was.
Industrialization.
Yeah.
It's all his old man did. And yet these fucking assholes talk about that stuff like it's, I'm here to fix the problem. He's the guy that came up with the Club of Rome, right? He was on the Trilateral Commission or whatever that is. There's numerous things that he did. He was on all sorts of globalist, I guess you would say is a popular word now.
Yeah.
New World Order type organizations.
Maybe he was forced into that by the family and he didn't really like it and he was really trying to make a difference. No?
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not, partner.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
You're probably right.
So you have to wonder what they're planning.
You know me. I don't blame them, though. If you're born into that, just keep it going as long as you can.
But you see how these guys all live this long. You look at these fellas, they're all making it to 100 at least. Yeah. So, I think the average lifespan in the U.S. has actually been dropping year after year. So for the peasants, for the serfs, like you and I, two lowly podcasters down here on the very bottom, blue-collar schlumps,
scumbags.
We get nothing. We get Jack and shit.
Yeah.
Jack left town.
Here it is. Not bad.
But, these guys, even though they look awful, they're just slumped over. They still get 100 years at least, if not more.
Mitchie.
With
McConnell,
us.
he's still going. He's freezing up. Half dead.
Right. Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
He's like 99. Looks awful. I mean, he's in hospice anyway, but I'm just saying, you see a pattern here with these people.
Yeah.
And
they got connections.
They got connections. They get that good health care.
Yeah. But then you get I guess Steve Jobs, I was going to bring him up, but he didn't let anybody go in there. He could have survived, maybe, but
I don't think he actually did any real.
Yeah.
Well, they want to say chemotherapy. He had the pancreatic cancer, which is, I guess, even for those folks, the kind of the death knell as well.
Yeah.
But
it's a rough one.
I think he went or attempted to go a more natural route with his treatment.
That's rough.
I guess didn't work out.
Not with that. With that, you need to use your billions to fight it.
I'm sure there's a conspiracy about him too, though, whether or not he even died, and just wonder about some of these people that.
Oh, he is Epstein. They're one and the same.
Oh, okay. And
I just made
Epstein's
that
not
up.
dead. He just was taken out of the picture.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean he's necessarily dead. He was probably whisked off to Israel, and some cosmetic surgery there.
Yeah.
We won't be talking about that today. But I don't. Do you think he's dead? By the way, just before we leave this little.
It makes to me. Yeah, I think they snuffed him out.
He wasn't important enough to.
They got him. He had too many names, too much info, so he had to go. Yeah. Whether or not let people say we killed him, who cares? Yeah, let's just get him out of there.
Yeah, if he was just a lowly stooge, in the operation,
Yeah.
The nuts and bolts side of things.
Yeah.
Working dude.
Though I will say, and before I say this, I'm not condoning his behavior. But I am saying, looked at the pictures of him in that jet, he was having a ball. He was having a blast. Probably had an awesome life. And then, it all came crumbling down.
I think he knew it was going to, at some point he was going to have to pay for.
Yeah.
I don't think he's dead. I think he's on another island.
I think so?
I think there's many of them. I think there's a lot of these islands out there. These motherfuckers didn't just stop banging little kids, man. You crazy?
I wonder if he's in
The party ain't over, my man. They're still going strong.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
What's her name? What's
Ghislaine Maxwell. Hell, we don't even know if she's in prison, man.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you, what's she doing? Last I heard, she was in prison making a deal of some sort, but who knows?
I didn't hear anything about that, but she's supposed to be in some sort of a, minimum security little country club down in Florida.
Yeah. Well, even a minimal.
But we don't even actually know if she's in there.
That's true.
Do you trust the State Department? I mean, we had nothing from her trial. We had nothing. We had no information coming from her trial. The judge was hooked up with all kinds of nefarious people. She went to some sort of. She was part of a. I remember looking up her because something showed up somewhere, probably on Twitter. I confirmed the information. She was. It was like a sister sorority to Skull and Bones or some shit. This was the judge in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. It wasn't Skull and Bones exactly, but it was one of those other fraternities in those Ivy League schools where these motherfuckers are all produced.
Yeah.
So she was from money. She was from a wealthy family. How can you trust this shit, man? It's the cops investigating themselves, bro. All right?
It's all coming from inside.
Yeah. It's, the CIA investigates itself. They find no wrongdoing. It's amazing. They never find any wrongdoing.
That is interesting.
Right. If you investigated yourself, would you find that you'd done anything illegal? Right? If you were caught, right? No, you don't. They never do.
Free.
FBI investigates itself. It's hilarious. The whole thing is hilarious. And they're all a bunch of fucking criminals, bro.
Yeah. I mean, you need that to make the world go round, though.
That's, Whitney Webb's book. I told you I was on the second. It's a long one. It's 1,000 pages, so it's a long one.
Yeah.
And I use that as like a reference book, so I'll go in and out every once in a while. It is corrupt and it is just infested with criminal activity from the top to the bottom.
I mean, Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
This is just confirmation of that. I know.
I know. I expect it. I'm never surprised to hear of something crazy like that. It's just, well, yeah, of course.
I know, but people my point in saying that is I don't think people fully realize how fucking, right, how corrupt it actually is. I mean, you can talk about things and write it off as, it was a rogue agent. It was a rogue agency, something they did that was just,
Yeah.
The whole fucking thing is just, there's no justice. Let's put it that way, babe.
No peace.
So anyway, I guess we'll be talking about that for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, there's no end. There's no end in sight.
It's a good book, by the way.
What's it called?
It's One Nation Under Blackmail.
That's right.
It's, the foundation, the cornerstone of that book has to do with Jeffrey Epstein, but for people to think like, and they do, people think like, oh, this was just an operation that was run by CIA and Mossad, and this is the first time it's ever happened, and it won't happen again. You all right?
Yeah. Sorry. Swallowed wrong.
Anyway, that's not the case.
Just thinking.
It's happened before, and it'll happen again. It's happening right now, I assure you.
Yeah.
And every agency is corrupt, but it's not like, you look at it like a company, right? You work for a company, I work for a company. You don't know what's going up at the top floors. You don't know what decisions are being made. Compartmentalization, everybody's kind of working on their own.
Oh, yeah.
One, office building or one station or one whatever, doing something completely different. They've got their own set of rules. So, I know there's grunts that work at the CIA and FBI, the NSA, and all these fucking agencies that are just doing the daily shit. They're crunching numbers. They're writing reports. They're doing actual law enforcement.
Yeah.
But
your basic shit.
Yeah, everything's got to run that way too. But at the top, babe, henchmen. Fucking henchmen, bro.
Well, there it is. Well, do you want to get into this?
Yeah, we'll get into this. What do you take a little break here real quick?
Little break ski?
Yeah.
All right.
Come back.
Yeah.
Start talking about Israel and Gaza. And I guess what hell did we even talk about what our hypothesis was going to be?
I don't think so. You brought it up.
We won't do it right now. We'll do it in a minute. Welcome back, everyone.
Take it easy. All right.
All right. I'm sorry. Okay. What are we talking about today? You may be somewhat curious yourself.
I honestly, yes, I am.
You looked through some of the notes I sent you?
Yes, I printed some out.
Just so you
printed.
Could read kind of what...
We got atrocity propaganda.
Yeah.
Strategy of tension.
Sure.
Problem, reaction, solution.
That's one of the things.
Yep.
But the basic premise of today's podcast, in talking about the Israel-Palestinian Gaza little conflict that's been happening recently, revolves around the idea that, like other things that have happened in the recent past, like 9/11, for example, kind of falls into the realm of the false flag attack. Not the exact textbook definition of a false flag. You can let things happen, Justin.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
You don't have to plan them. They can be planned by somebody else. You can be aware of the whatever it's going to take place, the operation, and you just let it take place. And we're going to give numerous...
Because it works in your favor in the long run.
Right, because we saw what happened. Everybody knew what was going to happen right after this little operation took place. I guess there was, roughly about 3,000 Hamas guys come across, attack like 20 little settlements, attack the music festival, and they had no idea this was going to happen. It was an intelligence failure. They always like to use that one. They said the same thing about 9/11 too. It was just an intelligence
We
failure.
fucked up.
We just didn't know it was going to happen. I had no idea these guys were going to blah, 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 blah. Total nonsense. That's the hypothesis I'm putting forward today.
How deep do you go? Just a quick little sidetrack. The 9/11-ish. Do you think that was a fully planned operation?
And what do you mean in regards to
by the United States? You think they knew that was happening? They just let it happen, or do you think that it got a little too far? They went a little overboard? Or?
Well, that's hard to say.
Yeah. Okay.
That's hard to say at this juncture. Still, I think a good number of people would put forward the idea also there that this thing was just allowed to happen,
right?
At whatever level. Well, with the agencies and stuff, they knew that was going to happen. Was it planned by us? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily have to be planned by us.
Right.
It can just be allowed to happen. Pearl Harbor is another good example.
Yeah.
Like I said, these are false flags. It's as I'm looking here, just like the textbook definition. It's not exactly a false flag, but it is a false flag. A false flag, I'm just going to give you the textbook definition before we move on, so we're all on the same page. I'm just going to very quickly read the definition, the textbook definition of a false flag. What that is. Its operation is an act committed with the intent of disguising the actual source of responsibility and pinning blame on another party. So this doesn't exactly fall into the realm of a false flag per se. Going to be talking about some today that were false flags that we know about that actually happened in the real world. What are you looking at over there? Is something happening?
I thought I heard some thunder or something, but
surely not.
I don't know what that was. Yeah, sorry.
CIA, Mossad, outside.
They hear us. Yeah.
Already? Yeah. So anyway, get your pencils and your pens and your papers out and get ready to take some notes today, folks.
Here we go. What's the best example of a false flag operation that you would put out there?
The best example?
What's the most famous one?
I don't know about famous one, but I mean, there's the one that I've brought up before, which was the Lavon affair. That's a good example of a textbook definition of a false flag. And this was Israel that was doing this one. It took place in 1954. Basically, they were going to do a bunch of bombing in Egypt,
Israel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were caught. Some guys committed suicide. Some were tried, executed. That's a good example of, a false flag attack. But there was Operation Northwoods, which was one of our operations. And I think I've mentioned Operation Northwoods here before. I'm not sure.
Yes, you have.
I have?
Yep, because I have it printed out. The Wikipedia printed from a past episode.
And I will, if you want me to go ahead very quickly, just talk about a little bit about Operation Northwoods.
Yeah.
So these documents were made public, I guess, in 1997. Documents were declassified, released to the public by the U.S. government in response to a Freedom of Information Act. Operation Northwoods was a proposed plan by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff in 1962 that suggested a series of false flag operations, including acts of terrorism, to justify, listen very closely now, to justify military intervention in Cuba during the Cold War. The classification and release of these documents shed light on the extent to which military and intelligence officials considered such covert actions, although the plan was never approved or executed. And it would have been Kennedy that turned this down. He was
JFK.
The one, the only. And some examples of some of the things that they were going to do. Now, this would have been our government doing these things to us and our people. I have a few examples from the Northwoods operation that they wanted to. And again, these were all going to be blamed on Cuba. Incidents to establish a credible attack, start rumors, use clandestine radio, land friendly Cubans in uniform over the fence to stage attack on a base, assuming this would have been in Cuba. Capture Cuban-friendly saboteurs inside the base. Start riots near the base. Blow up ammunition inside the base. Start fires. Burn aircraft on an air base. Sabotage. Mortar shells from outside the base into the base. I don't know if this is referring to Guantanamo, perhaps.
So I was just wondering. So this is all just to get us riled up at Cuba.
Well, this is like you can liken it to what happened with Gaza and Hamas and the Palestinians coming over to that, in that you're letting somebody do something or creating some tension so you can enact your plan, which is, in their instance, I think, they don't want Gaza there anyways. They want to bomb the shit out of it, and, like, people refer to it as an open-air prison, I guess.
Yeah.
They don't want it there anyway. They want it gone, right? And they got the West Bank over there. They want everybody gone that's not Israeli in Israel. Everybody knows this.
Right.
So that's basically what that little operation was, I think. Just to go back to this real quick. Capture militia group, which storms the base. Sabotage a ship in a harbor. Sink ships near the harbor entrance. United States will respond by executing offensive operations to secure water and power supplies, destroying artillery and mortar emplacements which threaten the base. Remember, this is an interesting one too. Remember the Maine incident could be arranged in several forms. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one before.
No.
Remember the Maine. That was basically a ship that was blown up in like I think it was the 1800s. Of course, I'm going through all my pages of notes here. And, of course, the very page I'm looking for will never be found.
So the ship was the Maine.
Yeah, it was the USS Maine. It was 1889. It was designed to increase the tensions with Spain.
Oh.
The Maine was a United States Navy ship that sank in Havana Harbor February 15th, 1898, contributing to the outbreak of the Spanish-American War. U.S. newspapers engaging in yellow journalism to boost circulation claimed that the Spanish were responsible for the ship's destruction. The phrase, quote, "remember the Maine, to hell with Spain," became a rallying cry for action. So we can see how far back these things go.
Damn.
Yeah, so he goes all the way back to 1800s. Of course, it goes back much further than that, though.
Yeah.
It's an old ploy. It's an old tactic. It's an old trick.
Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain.
Yeah. It's pretty catchy.
It is very catchy. I like it.
Although the Maine explosion was not a direct cause, it served as a catalyst to accelerate the events leading up to the war. Da-da-da-da, right? Very much like what just happened.
Yeah.
You need a reason. You can't just go in and bomb the shit out of these people who, like I said, it's been recognized as sort of an open-air prison. It's locked down 24/7. There's walls. There's gates. There's tons of surveillance watching them. The idea that just one day they just, dropped the ball, intelligence failure. Right. We just weren't watching. They just slipped across. Thousands, 3,000 strong just slipped across.
And then they pretty much just waltz on in, like there wasn't really a lot of pushback.
Right. Yeah. They literally just drove across.
Yeah. Okay.
Which has never happened before. Yeah. So you have to know that this happened, and they knew it was coming.
Something was going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they were doing some paratrooping, weren't they? Didn't they say that was a
hang
thing?
gliders?
Hang gliders.
Paragliders.
Yeah, even cooler. That's some James Bond shit.
It was pretty funny because, a couple of guys, a couple of rednecks with some rifles could have ended this thing before it even began.
Oh, yeah.
They're just paragliding across the...
Yeah.
Nobody saw anything, really. You didn't see people paragliding across. They just assumed at once they were all just leisurely...
Just cool looking.
Tourists doing a little...
Some stunt flying. They say that to bring up rednecks, putting a stop to it. That's one of the... things that the gun nuts say is like they're in the parachutings or stuff like this. They would say like this would never happen here because you got everybody here with guns,
right?
So it's something to be said for that. Yeah,
it's true. It's I think that would have been one of the arguments against sort of like I think it was one of the military leaders in Japan that said that I can't remember the quote exactly, but he was basically talking about some sort of ground invasion of the U.S. would never be possible because there would be a rifle behind every blade of grass.
Yeah. Yeah. And
which
that
is essentially true.
That is true. Like not just military force, it's the entire population almost.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're armed right now.
Oh, yeah.
See?
Got 2 guns in my pants. Go ahead.
It's good.
I'm just kidding. I got one.
Oh. See? But you do have one, though. It's So, yeah, you've got the Levon affair. Assuming I'm pronouncing that name correct. Levon.
I mean, how else can you say that?
Well, I saw some video where a guy was saying it another way, but Lavin affair. This is not important.
He was an idiot.
He was an idiot. But, it's just basically going off the idea that they had nothing. And then also they had no information on this. And so, what was it, a week or so after we were going to record this episode? But this hadn't happened yet. But then supposedly there was some sort of an IDF or some sort of Unit 8200, which is one of their intelligence agencies in Israel, like Mossad. There isn't just the Mossad. Most people know about the Mossad, but there's lots of others. One of the, supposedly, I saw some reports. I think I sent you a text of this. There was a report that some agent in some agency, possibly the Unit 8200, knew about this attack coming from Hamas, and then they were not listened to, or they were ignored, I guess.
Yeah. So the Unit 8200 is an Israel group? Is it Israeli group?
It's another Israeli intelligence agency.
Okay.
Of which there are many.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing, it's a good thing that this episode actually kind of waited, because immediately they started responding to that. Started seeing, I'm looking at the Times of Israel right now. It was a senior IDF officer dismissed pre-October 7 intel on Hamas invasion as fantasy. They immediately started saying, oh, no, we didn't. That's not true. That's completely inaccurate. This person, they don't even exist. They probably don't now, assuming this report was actually true.
Yeah. Long gone.
That somebody actually came out and, spoke out against it or whatever. But I did see several of those where they were talking about, at least one person said they knew this was going to happen and they just ignored it. Because that just, again, goes back to the strategy of tension.
Yeah.
Which,
I was just looking at.
Are you looking at it right now?
Got it right here.
What the hell is it? If you've got it handy.
The term is often used to describe a situation in which a government or military allows a terrorist action to happen either intentionally or due to negligence.
Ta-da-da. We have definitions for this stuff. That's how much this stuff happens. There's definitions for it.
Yeah.
Was there anything else there that was of import?
I mean, this refers to situations where a government or its agencies may support, fund, or turn a blind eye to terrorist activities for various reasons, including political, strategic, or ideological motives.
I think all of those fit with...
I believe so.
The Middle East.
Spot on.
Religious, all of their doctrines, all of their ideas, and their motivations for doing things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just, when I make these notes and you start reading up on this stuff, and there's just numerous definitions for phrases and terms and stuff, it's just
a lot.
Okay, so we use this episode to provide this information. We open the door. You all have to walk through it if you want to. Come to your own conclusions. Dig around. Read up on this stuff yourself if you haven't heard of any of these things. Some Unit 8200 agent or officer talking about, pre-knowledge, and then them just dismissing it or ignoring it. Stand-down orders. That's another thing, too. There's a phrase for these things.
Stand-down orders.
You ever heard that one before?
No.
It's basically they just
kind of self-explanatory though.
Right.
They
Right.
just,
I don't need to give you a definition.
stand down. They say it like that.
Well, if there's something going on, I'm sure they say it forcefully like that too.
Right. Furrowed brows.
Yeah, very angry. Well, they'll give a stand down order. So you think maybe some officer, some military, some agent in the field, somebody doesn't know what's going on, and they take it because you've got the hierarchy of the military and the orders from a superior officer. You don't know why you're being told to stand down, but you are being told to stand down. Maybe they were given a stand down order. I don't know if anything's come of that as of late, or if anything like that had come out at all. But it's pretty wild to think that they would, that officers would just let these guys come across and watch them.
Right.
But that's apparently what happened.
Seems like that's exactly what happened. Based on what I have seen in the news and whatnot. That's it. That sums it right up.
Finished.
Stand down order. Enacted. Do you think they even know that they're standing down?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they just...
Somebody at the bottom.
They just don't...
If you're guarding a post somewhere,
yeah,
you don't necessarily know who, what, where, when, or why. You're just doing what you're told.
Yeah. Watching Netflix on your phone.
More than likely.
Yeah.
So anyway, kind of interesting. We're talking about the intelligence agencies, and I don't know. I spent probably like half an hour. Kind of had to dig around a little bit, look through various news articles. I'm just going to share a few of those now because, like I said, a lot of people know of Mossad, and we know that the CIA works with Mossad. So you have a large intelligence infrastructure right there, right?
Yeah. Kick-ass name, too.
Mossad.
It's probably like the coolest sounding, scariest, to me anyways. The Mossad. It's like, Jesus. They're coming after me. The Mossad.
And they're going to use your taxpayer money to do it.
Well, that's one way to look at it. That's why it's so scary.
That's how they get funded.
Yeah.
In large part. Anyway, I'm just going to give a quick little rundown of, and again, this was just 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes looking up some of the various intelligence agencies in case you might want to read up on these a little further yourself, listener. So everybody's got the Mossad, you've got Shin Bet, and of course all these intelligence agencies, they do many different things. Most of them, some of these are military in nature, and some of them are intelligence.
No, let me ask you again, just to be clear.
They cross paths, obviously.
Is this all from Israeli intelligence agencies? This is all Israel's intelligence agencies.
These are
not just across the world. It's only over there.
No, yeah, these are just Israeli intelligence agencies that we know of, but also ones that would have certainly known about something like this happening on October 7th for sure. The idea that that's what's
one of them would have known.
One of them. It's even crazier to think that I'm going to give you this list here, and that none of these people knew anything, and it was just as they're quickly, coming out with these articles saying that it was an intelligence failure. So you got Mossad, Shin Bet, Amman, Unit 8200, Unit 88, Unit 504. I'll butcher some of these names. Lahav 433, Nativ, Israeli Security Council, Duvid Davin. I'm sure that's not how that's pronounced.
I like their ice cream.
The Combat Intelligence Collection Corps. I got a few more here. Sayret Matkal. Gesundheit.
That's a good furrowed brow.
Shabak, Lachim, and the Signet Service.
Wow.
Jesus.
So want to spit that out?
It was like 13 or 14 that I found just through like half an hour's worth of reading up on.
God knows how many else.
Because like right after it happened, I was like, there's no way Mossad. And then I was thinking like, well, there are other, I knew of Unit 8200 and 88. I knew of those other ones also. I think they're just more refined intelligence agencies, more specialized in what they're doing. So, apparently some assholes and some paragliders can just completely defeat the entire intelligence infrastructure. There's like 9/11 There was $100 billion intelligence infrastructure worldwide. CIA working together with Mossad. You know about these guys getting some planes?
Yeah, they're coming up with a plan. How are we going to get in there? What about security? Security? You're looking at it.
It's
one guy.
It's absurd. It's absurd to think.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of, I'm not going to go into this a lot today, but it's worth bringing up just because we're doing this whole thing, talking about 9/11 a little bit, false flags, knowing that things are going to happen, allowing them to happen. And it brings me to the dancing Israelis.
Now, this is something I've heard of.
You don't know anything about this either.
I know of it. One of the things I know of, but not about.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to go deep into the dancing Israelis today.
Please don't.
It's been written off now at this point as just a conspiracy, another conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That these 4 or 5 guys in this van that were seen in New Jersey by this lady. She called the cops basically because she saw a bunch of dudes taking pictures and stuff. I guess they were like in a parking garage or something in New Jersey, right as the attacks were happening, or just prior to the attacks happening. She happened to see them, and they appeared to be dancing and having a good time. They were sort of joyous, okay, and they were taking pictures. She says they were there before the attacks happened, like after they happened, and they seem to be sort of like, having a good time, celebrating. I think there's some conjecture as to whether or not they were there before, which would have indicated that they knew something was about to happen. The planes were about to hit, right? Anyway.
And this was in Jersey, New Jersey.
Yeah, they were across the river, right?
Yeah.
And then across the river, you could see the buildings. And she was like in an apartment building just above them looking down, watching. Obviously, the first plane had hit.
Yeah.
She sees this white van. White van's got urban moving systems on it, which ultimately end up being a fraudulent company. Okay. This is why
confirmed.
Yeah. I mean, the offices after these guys were arrested, because they were arrested, and then they were handed over to the FBI, which you can read up all these documents on their arrest and everything, the contents of the van, things like that. Nothing about it is legit as far as like saying, this was just some guys that were, mistaken. They were, of course, people were taking pictures of the buildings. This is never, this was this event happening was just out of the ordinary. So lots of people were taking pictures, and they were mistaken what they were seeing. They weren't actually celebrating.
Yeah.
But
so they didn't actually get these guys or anything. They just
they arrested them.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as they didn't get them like, doing anything that contributed to the attacks. They were just
no.
Okay.
No, they were seen there, and then the van was picked up. They were pulled over, and they were arrested. They were passed over to the FBI. But inside the van, there were 5 of these guys. It was later confirmed that one, if not all, because if you've got one, more than likely all of them, had connections to Mossad. They were all intelligence assets to some degree. All 5 of the guys. They had passports to various countries on them. They had like $3,000-$4,000 in cash, no cards. I think it was also noted in some of the FBI documents that they had no real equipment in the moving van that would be used at a moving company, which is kind of stands out to me.
Yeah. So
Urban Moving Systems, supposed to be a moving company.
Yeah.
There's no actual moving equipment. Things like, I don't know, straps, dollies, gloves, work gloves, that kind of thing.
Urban Moving.
Urban Moving Systems, yeah, that was the name on the side of the van. So they were arrested.
So,
and then
good.
They were arrested, and then they were interviewed a couple of times on a couple of things. And actually, ABC, Fox News back in the day, they did a couple of reports on these things. This is where the name, I guess would have come from. So you can watch these reports that they did. They're pretty short. Actually, I posted one on our Instagram page, the ABC one. I posted that one on there.
Okay.
So back at the time, they did this, and this was within a few months, I think, of all that going on. So I think that one's from like December or something like that.
So whatever happened to these guys?
Well, they were detained for a little while, and then they went back to Israel.
Oh.
And that's it.
They went home.
Went home.
Okay. Well,
but at the same time, those guys were seen doing that, possibly having some foreknowledge of the attack, 9/11, which everybody's pretty much sure they were. That company, after they were arrested, offices were abandoned. They got some footage walking through the offices of Urban Moving Systems, which I guess was in New Jersey. Everything had just been left. It's almost like, it wasn't really a business.
Yeah, it seems fishy, to say the least.
Yeah, kind of a front, maybe. Sort of a false front for an intelligence agents to work at.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that was happening.
Urban Moving
Systems.
They moved some urban buildings. There's a joke there somewhere. I'll find it.
Think about that. You work on that this week.
Yeah, that'll go in the next episode along with the connection of alien, whatever it was.
And at the same time, these guys were being arrested and eventually, I guess, deported or whatever, or just let free. There was the whole Israeli art student kind of thing that was going on. You remember anything about that? Do you hear anything about that? No. Okay.
I feel like I'm letting you down here. No, I don't know
it's
anything
okay.
about that.
You're not supposed to know it. You shouldn't.
Okay.
You're not supposed to. That's
Okay.
We've talked about this before this episode. Just like all this stuff I'm talking about. You don't need to know anything about the Israeli conflict with the whatever and the Gaza and the Palestinians. You shouldn't have to because it really doesn't affect us. Anyway, a bunch of art students were arrested also because they end up being what they think were more intelligence assets. These were spies gathering information. I guess they, in some capacity were doing something over here. But there was a lot of them that were arrested. I don't know if they were deported or if they just let them go free too, but they did. So what were all these people doing?
What were they doing, though? I know gathering information, but they don't know what it was. Like what made them suspicious, I guess.
Well, I think those guys, using the dancing Israeli guys, those 5 in the Urban Moving Systems van that were arrested, I think they basically confessed to sort of observing Muslim activity in the U.S., essentially. If there were guys over here, they said, oh, we were just watching these guys. We had nothing to do with it. It could just been that they were fucking idiots when they knew that the 9/11 thing was going to happen and went up there and celebrated. They have pictures, too. You can look at the pictures online. They're bad photocopies of photocopies of photocopies.
Yeah.
I think I've posted some as well. They were holding up lighters to the buildings. Yeah. So they kind of know that these guys were celebrating or doing something. And it was also, they had a weird quote too. Like one of the cops was interviewed in the ABC piece, the segment. And he said that they said something to the effect of, quote, "We are Israeli. We are not your problem. Your problems are our problems. The Palestinians are the problem." Now, why the hell would this guy just say that?
He just starts
immediately right after being arrested, which is why I kind of think they're kind of fucking stupid, I guess.
Yeah. He panicked.
Yeah, and this is the cop saying this. This was the cop that arrested him. They said a couple of funky things.
Yeah.
Kind of giving themselves up away, Like if you're just moving, guys, why are you saying this stuff?
Yeah,
This is kind of fishy that you're just spouting this stuff off right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Right off the gate.
Immediately, right off the gate. Thank you.
I
didn't understand what you said.
Okay, yeah.
Until you said it properly.
Yeah. So anyway, that's I didn't want to get, I'm sure most people that listen to our podcast, which is a conspiracy theory related podcast, know about the dancing Israelis to some extent. You can get most of this information. Like I said, a lot of those FBI documents are available. You can read the contents. There was other nefarious items in their possession. The passports and the visas or whatever, those were very strange. I think they had one to going to Germany. And just the fact that they had so much cash on them and weren't really doing moving things.
Yeah.
They were clearly, it was some sort of a front for an intelligence gathering group. So anyway.
Yeah, I've never learned
heard
about
of
that. I heard about it, the dancing Israeli, but I've never. What you just told me was very interesting.
All plays
into
into
made me kind of want to get into this a little more, to be honest with you.
Just now?
Just now.
That?
It did.
That one little piece
a little
of the
bit.
pie?
Some lady sees these guys holding lighters up to the thing.
Taking pictures together. The
Taking
pictures, they're all like
pictures.
arm in arm, you know, kind of
Yep.
standing there. And like I said, the photocopies are so bad you can't even really tell. There's no there's nothing in the background you can see because it's black and white photocopies. So, and I think there was a bunch more pictures too. Cops said that something like 70-something pictures had been taken, but the only pictures we've ever seen are like 5, 10, 12. So
And I would have loved to hear them panic and just start giving up stuff like that.
we are your friends.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
I don't know if you are.
Just bringing up stuff that the cop didn't even ask about.
Yeah, and you can watch that clip where he's saying that. They said some other weird shit too. They said a bunch of weird shit.
Yeah, go check the van to that totally real company. Yeah, just stuff like that.
No calluses on their hands.
Yeah, not a back brace in sight.
No furniture in there from somebody's apartment being...
You'd think for being in an intelligence field, they'd be a little bit smarter.
Well, there's dumbasses in every
true.
Every career, every job. You know?
I guess so.
They're just out there reporting.
It all comes down to idiocy, you know? Just criminal idiocy.
Absolute criminal idiocy. So, do I, looking at that, do I think that there was foreknowledge? Absolutely.
I mean, that's a great, makes a great case for foreknowledge.
The dancing Israelis case
100%.
certainly does. I've mentioned Pearl Harbor before, and there were reports about activities, the Japanese and stuff, but at the time, Americans didn't want to get into the war.
Yeah. Didn't Churchill wanted us to help out, didn't it? Wasn't that the whole part of that? If I recall correctly, there was some little conspiracy theory that we teamed up. So to get ourselves involved, we kind of let that happen. Is that true? Is that what you're about to say? Or have you used it the first time you're ever hearing that, and that explains why you're looking at me?
Well, perhaps the way you're describing it, I don't quite understand what the hell you're saying.
Speaking of idiocy is what you're saying.
Well,
I'll tell you what. You explain it your way, and we'll let the listeners decide. That'll be the next poll. Who described it better?
Okay.
Who described Pearl Harbor better, Justin or Josh?
There was just a couple of things as far as Pearl Harbor goes. One of them was the McCallum Memo. You ever heard of that one before?
Nope.
Also known as the McCallum Memorandum.
I've heard of that one.
Or the 8 Action Memo is a document written by Lieutenant Commander Arthur H. McCallum of the United States Navy, October 1940. So Pearl Harbor happens 1941. This memo outlined a series of recommendations for U.S. policy in the context of growing global conflict that would, eventually become World War II. The key points in the McCallum Memo were as follows. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you've got this one's kind of interesting. Blockades and forcing Japan into war. The memo indicated that it might be necessary to provoke Japan into taking military actions that would justify U.S. entry into the war.
Okay. And wasn't that because Churchill wanted our help or something like that?
I mean, I'm sure they did, but you didn't have the backing of the people at that time.
Okay.
We didn't want to get into it. Americans didn't want to get into a war that was happening in Europe.
Yeah, right. But they used the Pearl Harbor. They let it happen so we could get involved. That's exactly what I said earlier.
Right. That's exactly what you said.
All right.
I mean, that's the point of the whole thing is, again, you know it's happening. There were other reports coming from the South Pacific. They had people stationed over there. They knew there was activity going on. So you basically just let these things happen.
Right.
Gulf of Tonkin is another. It was a completely fabricated. They know that now. That's what got us into Vietnam. It just goes on and on with this shit.
Yeah.
So
well, then that sort of 9/11 too. I mean, wasn't that like a reason to go over there, look for weapons and whatnot? They never found any, but that was our reasoning behind it.
We're talking about the weapons of mass destruction.
WMDs.
There weren't any.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it just keeps. History repeats itself. I've always said that.
Oh, were you talking about something from my notes that I gave you? The Roosevelt thing? FDR thing? Another eyewitness viewpoint akin to Beatty's provided by Roosevelt's administrative assistant at the time of Pearl Harbor, Jonathan Daniels. It is a telling comment about FDR's reaction to the attack. The blow was heavier than he had hoped it would necessarily be, but the risks paid off. Even the loss was worth the price. Even the loss was worth the price. All those guys that died in Pearl Harbor.
Yep. Got a hell of a movie out of it. Right?
Oh, it's a good one. It's a great one. Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah. Ben Affleck.
Quote, 10 days before the attack of Pearl Harbor, Henry L. Stemson, United States Secretary of War at the time, entered in his diary the famous and much argued statement that he had met with President Roosevelt to discuss the evidence of impending hostilities with Japan. And the question was, quote, how we should maneuver them, the Japanese, into a position of firing the first shot without allowing too much danger to ourselves, end quote.
Yep.
They knew this shit was going to happen, man. It's just absurd to think otherwise. So, and they create these groups too. Like, I posted that clip on our Instagram of Ron Paul talking about the creation of Hamas.
Yeah.
It was an Israeli creation. We have all of our sort of little nefarious connections to dictators, coup d'etats all over the world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we did a whole episode on Operation Condor, right?
Yeah, in South America, which
That's
was
all that. Same
Kissinger.
kind of deal.
Kissinger was part of that. Yeah.
Yep.
Kissinger was a big player in that thing.
Yeah.
The bombing of, I guess it was Hanoi or Cambodia? This guy was a piece of shit. Responsible for a lot of deaths, so Kissinger.
Well, I mean, can we focus on the good things he did, though?
But, these guys are supposed to be our enemies, right? Saddam Hussein was supposed to be he wasn't our enemy. We were friends with this guy. We had connections with this guy. Osama bin Laden, also one of ours, right? These are all supposed to be the enemies that they will send you or I off to die in some bullshit war. And it seems to work every time when they fabricate some attack or,
It really gets our patriotic juices flowing.
Manuel Noriega, you got the CIA, you got the Iran-Contra, drug running, drug trafficking. Fidel Castro, obviously. There's lots of questions about his relationship.
Yeah.
Took out Che Guevara. As long as you're working for him, the moment old Che was like, hey, I got a little clout here. I'm going to start doing my own shit. Who do you think that was that fed the information to the Bolivians? Because I guess he was in Bolivia when he got killed. CIA. So as long as you're working with them, right? The Shah of Iran is another good example, right? It's amazing. I don't know. It's fascinating to me to know all this shit.
And what you just said also, it works every time.
Yeah, it has been in the recent past. I mean, we're talking about the past. I don't know. Some shit was really popping off right after the Civil War. Things were really starting to get. You had sort of like the United States now. No, secession could be. We're not going to go into the whole reasons for the Civil War. Going to really piss people off.
Yeah.
This episode may do the same thing.
It might, but
it's been mentioned a few times already what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
that they knew that this was going to happen. Netanyahu, he's a dickhead. Everybody knows this.
Yeah.
So, why? Are you scared?
I'm not. No, I'm just laughing at
are
the
you
way
nervous?
just the way you said it. I liked it. It made me laugh.
Oh, okay.
And Netanyahu, he's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dickhead is a. Yeah.
Look, I don't have any. If I say this, people are going to assume that I have some sort of attachment to Palestinians, or
right.
I don't.
Right. I know that.
Right. I'm just an American.
Yeah.
And none of us, going back to what we were talking about several times as we tried to do this episode, you don't know anything about the Middle East because you don't want to, because you don't give a shit. We're not talking about the humanitarian side of things, people dying, being bombed, just obliterated, whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about we're not supposed to have any alliances with any countries. That's something that's very important. It was never supposed to happen. But it's happening now, obviously.
Yeah.
We're getting pulled into a lot of things that we shouldn't be. It's not the way it's supposed to work, folks.
100%. But is it possible to not get involved? Like, could we just mind our own business and only defend ourselves?
Yes.
With a massive fist, if need be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what I feel like we should do. Just
talking about like the creation of Israel, that wasn't like an organic kind of a thing. Once you look into the history of that, not going to get into that today either. Obviously, that's not the point of this. Would take too long. But just, trying to make the point that it was supposed to be some sort of a flagship country in the Middle East. Why do we care?
Yeah.
Why do we need to have a home base there that's representing what?
I know.
What is it supposed to represent? How is it really supposed to help or better us in any way? Yeah, there's going to be conflicts. We're going to have problems with countries. That's inevitable. Right. That's the way things are. Humans don't like each other. But this alliance is not good.
Like you said, it's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I guess I'm not going to do the Founding Fathers quotes. I know you hate those. I know you find those terribly boring. But you can go back into the original writings, back in the early days there. They talk about entangling alliances quite a bit. Their words. So it's very important
you sent me a couple things on that.
I did?
Yes, you did.
I don't remember.
Or maybe talked about it on this in an earlier episode. I remember discussing it in some way.
Well, we brought it up in the last attempt.
Oh, maybe that was it.
They wrote about it extensively.
Yeah. And it makes sense if your whole thing was to...
And prior to its creation, we had this did not exist. So it literally was just the U.S. doing U.S. shit.
Yeah.
We should go back to that. I don't know why that's such a crazy... This whole us entangled with the Middle East thing didn't exist prior to its creation.
Right.
So I don't know why that sounds so crazy to talk about.
I don't either, but some people would say you're an idiot for even thinking that.
They might imply that I'm anti-Semitic.
100%. It's really the way you're coming across right now.
Right. But we shouldn't have any sort of entangling alliance with any country.
No. Yeah, I agree with you. But I don't... Go ahead.
Would you like to expand on that?
Yeah, I didn't mean... I don't
want to talk the whole time here.
Well, you're doing a great job. And it's probably for the best. I just don't understand why we got to get involved with every little thing. You just stick our noses in everybody's little business, no matter what, and it just bothers me. It does bother me.
Big business, too.
Well, yeah, which I get that, especially now, but I don't know. You ever watch that movie Lord of War? Gunrunner movie. At the end of it, he talks about how the president lets him do it all because he can't be seen supporting these other countries like that, supplying them all the guns and whatever else. Just leave it up to the freelancers, right?
Like him.
That makes perfect sense. 100% leave it up to them. Don't get involved.
We arm all of these people.
I know.
We arm Hamas. We arm and fund. I mean, if you send some sort of aid, a financial aid over to a country,
Yeah.
and they have what some consider to be a terrorist organization, that funding will no doubt find its way to them.
Goes right to them.
And if they're not funding them, somebody else is.
Yeah.
It's, again, it's that strategy of tension. You're creating enemies. Like I said, we've had all these connections with all these people. It goes on and on. How we've had all these connections, put in dictators, installed all of these people, and then turned on them.
Right.
There's too many coups to list. There's too many governments overthrown to list, right?
Is it all when the people we put in there, the dictators that we put in there, when they stop, when they get a little too big for their britches, is that when we take them out? Is that when we?
I think to some degree.
Yeah.
They get maybe a little, a little ahead of themselves.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to wonder, why would they bite the hand that feeds them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they just don't want to deal with them anymore. Maybe they know too much. They want that relationship gone.
It's a risk. Get it out of there.
Yeah, and it's easy to do. And they kill them all the time. But those, just going back to those claims, you were talking about the weapons of mass destruction earlier.
Yes.
There was another one that was pretty well known at the time. I guess this had to do with this was Kuwait, and this was the, probably going to pronounce her name wrong, Nayara testimony. Do you remember that one? This was a girl that, because we had that 40 beheaded babies thing. Did you see that, where that they said they beheaded, Hamas beheaded a bunch of babies?
I saw it in your notes. I saw it. Yeah.
Well,
That's
good.
it.
Well, they were talking about that in the news. They were, said, they say, oh, they bombed a hospital. Oh,
Yeah.
Hamas came in and beheaded a bunch of babies. They didn't provide any evidence for this. So that falls into the realm of atrocity propaganda.
Right.
Another term.
Yep.
Write this down. It's very important. Many examples of that as well. But that testimony, which you can watch on YouTube, was false testimony given before the United States Congressional Human Rights Caucus on October 10th, 1990. There's a 15-year-old girl who publicly identified at the time by her first name, Nayara. Testimony was widely publicized and was cited numerous times by U.S. Senators, President George H.W. Bush, in their rationale to support Kuwait in the Gulf War. Another example. As if I need to give any more at this point. 1992, it was revealed that Nayara's last name was al-Sabah, and that she was the daughter of a Saud al-Sabah, the Kuwaiti ambassador to the United States. Furthermore, it was revealed that her testimony was organized as part of the Citizens for a Free Kuwait public relations campaign. I know this is boring the shit out of you.
Not at all.
Which was run by the American public relations firm Hill and Knowlton for the Kuwaiti government. Following this, al-Sabah's testimony has come to be regarded as a classic example of modern atrocity propaganda, which was exactly what we saw with this recently, which is why I'm talking about it right now. Atrocity propaganda, just to give you the textbook definition of it, if you want it for your notes there. Spreading of information about the crimes committed by an enemy, which can be factual, but often includes or features deliberate fabrications or exaggerations. This can involve photographs, videos, illustrations, interviews, and other forms of information presentation or reporting. And the specifics of what she claimed in her testimony. That after the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait, she had witnessed Iraqi soldiers taking babies out of incubators, is what this was. And a Kuwaiti hospital remove the incubators and leave the babies to die. Never happened.
Never.
No. Her story was initially corroborated by Amnesty International. Oh, they corroborated it for her. They weren't there. They didn't see it. A British-based global NGO. What's an NGO? Non-governmental organization, which are always governmental organizations. which will toe the party line, so to speak, for whatever the narrative is the government's trying to push, which published a report about the supposed killings and testimony from evacuees following the liberation of Kuwait. Reporters were given access to the country. An ABC report found that patients, including premature babies, did die when many of Kuwait's nurses and doctors fled, but Iraqi troops almost certainly had not stolen hospital incubators and left hundreds of Kuwaiti babies to die. This is just, I guess essentially you could write it off as collateral damage, another term. Shit happens in war. Who suffers? You, me, peasants.
Right.
The poorer folks. We always suffer in these situations. Cannon fodder. They get used. There's, like I said, a political agenda is taking place here, so it doesn't matter. They'll kill 3,000 people. 9/11. They'll kill them. They don't give a shit because they're looking at the bigger picture, babe.
The loss will be worth it.
Yeah, just like they say.
Uh-huh.
So I'm talking there a lot, and I'm going to stop now and let you talk.
Oh, boy.
You didn't look at these notes at all.
I 100% did.
You didn't, bro.
I just don't retain well.
I don't either. That's why I'm reading.
But I'm also not well versed. You could read that, and you're spitting out facts that I've never even heard of before.
I know it's fun, isn't it? I'm going to make it fun.
Dancing Israelis.
Right.
They weren't in the notes.
Gulf of Tonkin. Oh, they weren't. That's true. You got me there.
See? But you
that was
told
my
me
phone
about
notes.
it. You told me about it, and I told you earlier I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and just to give some other examples of this, these types of operations, I did post a little video talking about the King David Hotel bombing. 91 were killed in that. That was a operation that took place by Israel again. I guess it was on the British, right? There was a bunch of offices that were in this King David Hotel. They blew it up.
What was the end game of that one?
LaCroix's give me gas.
I'm sorry. LaCroix, see. That was bad.
This wasn't a false flag operation per se, but it was just a terrorist act.
Another, okay. So just another one. No, there was no, okay.
But this was Israel doing this one as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people have never heard of that one either. So I guess this had to do with that whole mandatory Palestine thing and the British, having the, like I said, this was, I guess, essentially before Israel was created. But anyway, those are a lot of those examples. Gone through Northwoods. Oh man, I'm not even going to talk about USS Liberty. We won't even go there today.
Too much. What's the story with that one? Just a little like a tagline, if you will.
USS Liberty was attacked 1967 by Israel. 34 U.S. Navy. I think it was 34 sailors were killed, and they tried to blame it on Egypt, or that's one of the theories. The other theory was that they just didn't like the eavesdropping. It was an intelligence gathering ship, so they were looking to see what Israel was doing with Egypt during the 6 Day War. So they were over there cruising around.
They were just parked out there.
They attacked the ship, right? So if they were successful in sinking the ship and killing all of the sailors, they tried to put some life rafts over the side, and they strafed it. They strafed it.
Yeah, but they didn't sink it.
They didn't sink it.
Okay.
They did sink the life rafts. Guys were trying to get off the ship, abandoned ship.
Yeah,
and that's a war crime, by the way. Go ahead and throw that in there.
Go ahead and
yeah.
Yep.
And they had waved at the guys, the pilots, the Israeli pilots that flew overhead. So, and of course they had American flag flying from the mast, so they knew it was an American ship, but they did it anyway. I think this was an operation by James Jesus Angleton, who was a CIA officer who was actually sort of in charge of the Middle East at that time. He was a real piece of shit. And he was collaborating, no doubt, with some of their Mossad intelligence guys or some of their Israeli IDF military guys to get this little plan going. See, they would sacrifice a whole ship of guys
Right.
to enact a plan. Now, what was the plan? Ultimately, the objective would have been to pull us into the 6-Day War. So we think it's Egypt that did this, and then we go bomb the shit out of them. We help them. You see?
Right. Right.
But it wasn't them. And they knew that. And
is that because everybody survived? They didn't succeed in their plan?
Yeah, well, they got like an SOS out. The aircraft carrier group was probably 300-400 miles away or something like that. The ingenuity of the sailors, they were able to rig some cable up to their communication mast, which Israel attacked. First thing, knocked it out.
Yeah.
And then
Classic.
They immediately scrambled some aircraft from the aircraft carrier that was there. And I think they got a stand-down order from LBJ and McNamara. So they phoned in a stand-down order for them to call the pilots back. Because they sent the pilots out, I'm pretty sure, and then they brought them back. So they scrambled some fighters to go kick the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know who it was attacking initially, right? And then they brought him back. Now, why would LBJ and why would McNamara do that? Why would they have a stand-down order when their intelligence ship is being attacked? If it was anybody else, they would have just let him go, but they called him back because, safe to say, they knew who it was doing it.
Right.
And this little operation was supposed to go through, right? Maybe.
So they did turn around, these planes.
Yeah. Our fighters came back to the aircraft
Right.
carrier or whatever.
Has anybody ever, notably...
They hit him with napalm, too, by the way. They hit that ship with napalm.
Jesus.
Yeah, they were going to come in with commandos, too. They came in with helicopters.
They're going to hang glide in.
Yeah.
Has anybody notably disobeyed a stand-down order that you know of? Like, is there an example of that, or did it possibly happen but we just didn't know it was a stand-down order?
I don't know.
Okay, I didn't know if there was a good, a rebel, and what do you call that? A rogue,
a maverick.
Yeah, maverick. Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Okay, because that would be a cool thing to know, I think. What if it did happen, how quickly he'd be snuffed out, or would they spin the story to make him some kind of national hero, like he saved the day?
Yeah, I mean that just falls into the realm of propaganda too. It's like Chris Kyle and all his bullshit lies. That guy was a fucking nut.
I've heard some stories about him. What's his name hated him?
Who?
Jesse Ventura. Couldn't stand him.
Yeah, you know the specifics of that whole thing?
No. I mean, I heard no, I don't.
Well, okay, so Opie and Anthony had their little thing with Jesse Ventura, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, I won the thing,
Yeah.
Because he did win. He was some sort of a Navy SEAL. I guess it was a graduation for some Navy SEALs or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess it takes place, San Diego or something? But they had a bar they all go to. And Chris Kyle wove a tale of being at this graduation. And Jesse Ventura was... I mean, I'm no Jesse Ventura, but the guy won a case against a dead guy that was, who was supposedly a national hero. So the guy came up with a bullshit story, point being.
Right.
He was at this graduation, and Jesse Ventura was like, they deserve to die. The Navy SEALs, America's, blah, 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 the corruption. Said he was saying all this bad stuff, and Chris Kyle walks over and knocks his lights out.
Hell yeah.
Total bullshit. Made it up.
Yeah.
He made up a lot of other lies, too. Like after Katrina, he said he went down and sniped people from like the dome down there, looters and shit.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Kyle said that?
Yeah. He said all kinds of crazy shit.
I'd never heard that.
Yeah.
That's
he said
crazy.
He had some sort of a confrontation at a gas station or something was another one. I don't know the specifics of all these, but he had a bunch of crazy tales, probably exaggerated his numbers of people that he actually sniped. He was a bullshit artist. So he dies. Jesse Ventura still continues on with the lawsuit because it's defamation to say that he said these things and said that he devoted a chapter, I guess, in Chris Kyle in his book talking about it, or not a chapter, but he brings it up. And, of course, anybody in that position would probably continue on with a lawsuit. It's not affecting his wife's financial whatever. It's all being handled by lawyers and things like that. The estate, essentially. Right. And he ends up winning because they can't find one person to corroborate what Chris Kyle said about him being knocked out and this attack and him saying this stuff. So, lead me to believe that it was a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Wow. I did hear that Jesse Ventura, he is a sexual tyrannosaur. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think I saw that. He was talking about that in a documentary.
Some documentary, yeah, some military, actual footage. They're like in a helicopter or something.
Yeah. They were in a helicopter.
Yeah. He's passing around tobacco.
This is a Predator joke for those that don't know Predator. 1987 classic.
Excellent movie. Which you turned me on. I'm sorry, I don't want to get sidetracked by movies.
We're getting way sidetracked into Movieville.
Jesse Ventura will get you there.
But anyway, did we mention problem reaction
I was
solution?
just looking at that.
I wanted to go ahead and get that one out of the way.
Okay.
You can.
Let me read this here. Somebody threw these my way. Problem, reaction, solution.
It ties into all this.
Oh, yeah.
The bigger picture of what this means.
I like this one a lot. Of the definitions, this one's good.
Terms and definitions are very important.
Yeah. Problem, reaction, solution is a concept or strategy that is often associated with conspiracy theories or certain political theories.
Ooh.
It suggests a manipulative process in which a government or other powerful entity creates or exploits a problem, real or perceived, waits for a reaction from the public, and then offers a predetermined solution to address the problem.
We see it all the time.
Yeah, it's great. And then, especially going in, like if you, the predetermined solution, you got it all planned out, you're ready to go, and you look brilliant for doing it, so everybody just goes along with it.
Well, it's like Patriot Act came into play after 9/11. Like, we need more security. Help us, please. Yeah. State, government, please make us safe. You see how quickly
ready to go.
Everybody adopted it. It was already in the playbook there. We've talked about before. They got a good long game, huh?
Yeah, the long game is incredible.
Was there more to that?
Problem, reaction, solution scenarios are often used to describe situations where a perceived problem or crisis is exploited or manipulated to advance a specific agenda.
Oh, there's that word again, agenda.
Agenda. Yep.
It's like that PDF I sent you, last night or 2 nights ago? With the end of air travel.
Oh, yeah.
You can see this sort of little game plan by 2030. I guess that's part of the 2030 agenda.
Air travel will be done.
For the peasants, anyway.
Yeah.
But there was a whole list of things there.
And
that was
cattle, no more beef.
A study done by Cambridge or some number of universities or whatever.
It was proposed by, what's her name over there in England?
And there will be more to it, I assure you.
Yeah. I can't remember her name. Damn it. Oh, well. It's some broad.
Greta?
No. Oh, don't bring her up. Come on. Leave her out of this.
Well, there's got to be some World Economic Forum stuff in there. More NGOs. These are unelected bodies, Trilateral Commission.
Yeah.
That are making these policies and creating these little action plans. Ties into the whole 15-minute city thing. I guess you've seen that probably. Mm-hmm. Digital currency.
Yeah.
They're just the walls are closing in slowly but surely.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a whole.
It's just.
Yeah.
No, it's just everything's just they make it easy and convenient, and it just keeps getting
for
more
you
and
for me.
right yeah. I haven't used cash. I don't remember the last time I paid cash. Just bringing up digital currency as an example.
Yeah, I mean debit cards,
Apple Pay,
credit cards. What's the other one? Money transfer thing that's popular now?
Oh, like Venmo or something like that. Yeah.
So there is that, but the point is, And when people say this, like, it's so convenient, what's the problem? Why not? It's because now you still have the option to use cash.
Yeah.
And you don't have to use these things.
Yeah.
And you can have currency in your hand that is unreported and undocumented because everything's so expensive. And it's nice to have that option. Whereas someday you will not. Someday in the very near future.
I also heard, now I'm going to bring up this guy's name. A lot of people hate him, and I'm not a fan. But Andrew Tate, you familiar?
Yeah.
He's a goober.
Yeah, he's a goober. Yeah.
But he was talking about how the banks especially are on board with all this shit. Digital.
CBDCs.
Because they get a little...
Central digital bank currency.
There we go. Brilliant. But they get a little kickback for every little transaction that you do.
Everybody takes a little piece of the pie.
They get a little piece for every little thing. Even if it's like 0.2%, you get billions of those a day. That's a lot of money. Yeah, and with cash, the $50 thing will just keep going as $50.
It's obviously not a good idea.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about, the subscription services.
Yeah.
It's not a good idea to just pass off. Like, I don't put stuff on a cloud. I don't trust a cloud. You don't want to give away and put all of your stuff out there in somebody else's control. Why people are just like, it just blows my mind that people do that.
Yeah.
That's a thing,
Do you use the cloud?
No, I don't use any of
that.
You
don't even
shit.
Use it.
No way, Jose.
How do you back up your phone?
Supposed to say that now?
Oh, God.
I think I back up the phone, but I don't put pictures and stuff like that on there.
Yeah. I got everything going there.
I know, everybody does.
It's just, again, it's convenient, easy.
I know.
Helpful.
You're the product now.
I know. And as far as digital movies, I told you, I don't have any DVDs anymore. Gone.
Yeah, and
books, Kindle boy. I'm a Kindle man.
Seeing that push now to own digital media or whatever. But
it's coming back.
Yeah, it should never left. People are stupid to they're regretting their decisions to hand it all over. People need to stop doing that shit.
One day it is going to be gone. The digital shit.
For your stupid asses. Not for mine, because I got all my stuff.
Predator?
Got it.
Okay. All right. You're good to go then. I don't know. It's just... I'm really banking on I'm not going to be around for the collapse.
I was going to say death.
Yeah.
Just death.
Yeah. I don't need the DVDs that I don't have anymore.
But you haven't had one craving to watch one of these movies that you previously owned? And
No. I honestly, I'm not just saying that. I haven't, because I can just go on wherever Amazon and it's $3. Even when I had the DVD there, half the time I'll just go to Amazon and pay $3 anyways.
Yeah, you can still go and buy it.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
It's like that stupid JFK documentary that I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Which
you know what you should do?
I'm bringing up now on the podcast for the first time. Doesn't matter. It's a stupid documentary. Came out in 1981, maybe.
Yeah. This goes out to the world. Technically, this goes out there.
Yeah. Download these episodes, people. Keep them.
I'm going to throw out $500 reward if anybody can get Josh a copy of that documentary,
which is called "The President Must Die."
That's on me.
1981. Could be based off a book, which I actually found the book. I've been looking through it. Who knows if this guy's got some crazy theories. I just like to consume as much JFK assassination documentary information as I possibly can.
Yeah. That's what I need to get into.
I'll have times when, in fact, just mentioned this before we start recording too, that Rob Reiner is doing a podcast on the JFK assassination. I don't know.
That's odd. It's such an odd.
It's called "Who Killed JFK?" Stuff they don't want you to know. I don't know if that's just him talking about it. It's like an hour-long episode of that podcast, or if he's got his own podcast. I don't know how you can succinctly break down the entire JFK assassination in 1 hour block.
You just got Rob Reiner's voice on there. That's why. You got Meathead.
Old Meathead.
Yeah. Stuff they don't want you to know. That is a podcast. That's like its own
Never
If
listened
it's
to
the
it.
same thing, I don't know.
I assume it is.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah, you can get into that one. You should get into that one.
I need to, because it's deep.
Yeah, and it's very telling. Gives you lots of information that covers lots of bases. You can kind of see how things really work. That's why that one's so important. I've seen other people talk about that one. Like, that's the reason to get into it. This one tells you everything about the way the world works. This is it.
Yeah. It's got it all.
It's got it all. And it's...
Now, there's a lot of loons. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
A lot of loonies involved in the JFK conspiracy, and I'm asking because I don't know. Have you heard of any alien connection to the JFK assassination?
I have not.
Okay. That was quick. You didn't have to think about it.
No hesitation. I already knew where you were going with this anyway.
Yeah, I figured you did, but I'll find it. I'll find something.
Just to get back real quick to I have one page left, and I meant to mention this earlier, probably got sidetracked. It's good to throw it in there, though, just because I have it. And again, this podcast is, to some degree anyway, about providing people with information.
Mm-hmm.
This is from the Operation Northwoods documents, right? This was just some of the other crazy stuff. It kind of is weird that you wouldn't know that this stuff was available in the early 1960s or whatever, but it was. This was another one of their little plans to create conflict, strategy of tension. We could blow up a drone / unmanned vessel anywhere in Cuban waters. We could arrange to cause such incident in the vicinity of Havana or Santiago as a spectacular result of a Cuban attack from the air or sea or both. The presence of Cuban planes or ships merely investigating the intent of the vessel could be fairly compelling evidence that the ship was taken under attack.
They had drones in the 60s?
That's my point.
Son of a gun.
Well, this is talking about a ship, but they also mention aircraft too,
Yeah.
drone aircraft. You're fucking A right, they did.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, and this was 1962. We could develop a communist Cuban terror campaign in the Miami or other Florida, in the Miami area, in other Florida cities, or even in Washington. So this is talking about doing terrorist type activity in the United States, done by our own military. The terror campaign can be pointed at refugees seeking haven in the United States. You see how they were going to point the blame?
Right.
We could sink a boatload of Cubans. This is from the documents. We could sink a boatload of Cubans en route to Florida, real or simulated.
Yeah.
Now, this is the wild and wacky world of the fun, real shit, okay? We could foster attempts on lives of Cuban refugees in the United States, even to the extent of wounding in instances to be widely publicized, exploding a few plastic bombs in carefully chosen spots, the arrest of Cuban agents, and the release of prepared documents substantiating Cuban involvement. Also would be helpful in projecting the idea of an irresponsible government. All this to invade Cuba. So you got the Bay of Pigs thing that happened, blah, blah, blah. This was another one. A Cuban-based Castro-supported filibuster could be simulated against a neighboring Caribbean nation. I mean, it just goes on and on. Use of MiG-type aircraft by U.S. pilots could provide additional provocation.
Oh, boy.
Harassment of civil air, attacks on surface shipping, and destruction of U.S. military drone aircraft by MiG-type planes would be useful as complementary actions. And F-86 properly painted would convince air passengers that they saw a Cuban MiG.
Yeah. Yeah, using the MiGs. A little camo.
Right. Especially if the pilot of the transport were to announce such fact. The primary drawback to this suggestion appears to be the security risk inherent in obtaining or modifying the aircraft. However, reasonable copies of the MiG could be produced from U.S. resources in about 3 months. That shit blows my mind.
That's not very long.
No, it's not. Hijacking attempts against civil, air, and surface craft should appear to continue as harassing measures condoned by the government of Cuba. Concurrently, genuine defections of Cuban civil and military air and surface craft should be encouraged.
Encouraged?
This was a general whose name was mostly attached to this whole Northwoods thing. I think his name was Lemnitzer. Lyman Lemnitzer or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't remember his name. But if you Wikipedia him, which, by the way, Wikipedia is a controlled platform.
Did you donate your $250?
Sure.
Yep. Okay. Good. Just making sure.
Start there with your search, but don't let it end there. Continue on.
It is a great place to start.
That's where I always start.
Yeah. And then,
but you're not going
from there.
You're not going to get the entire story, that's for sure.
And you get, whoever, any Joe Schmo can go on there and add whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, I would say it's primarily run by the CIA. I think that's the idea that's been put forward about it for the most part. But I think that's a pretty good summation as to why I think this operation was known about and was just allowed to happen.
Right.
But again, you can think whatever you want to think. You can think it was a total surprise to like 14 intelligence agencies in Israel.
And you'll be an idiot.
Right.
Yep. That's the point you're trying to make.
Yeah.
Yep. I got it. I think I got it. I think you nailed it. Because I think if I was to go through and get my audio versus yours, you'd have a lot more than me.
I talk quite a bit.
And more informative.
There's some information
I'm just
in there.
over here going, yeah, oh, encouraged. Stuff like that.
Ball bearings.
Oh. I don't want to bring that up again. That was not a good moment for this podcast.
It's okay. Shit happens.
Forrest Gump. Let me ask you this. Forrest Gump came up with the phrase "shit happens."
Yeah, he did.
You remember?
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I think at the end of this episode, after the music, maybe I'm gonna throw on where you walked off the last one, because it is humorous. Because I bring up ball bearings, and then should I do that?
You can do whatever you want, man.
I'm gonna make it so.
Okay.
And if it's not funny, I won't.
All right.
Okay.
Try it out and see.
Yeah. All right.
Well, do you have
Something to look
anything
forward
that you
to.
want to add to this episode of the podcast where we're talking about the October 7th attack by Hamas?
I mean, nothing that I haven't said other than just why can't we all just fucking cool it
Well, it's never going to happen.
as a species? I know. And it pisses me off. That's what it does really with me. It just annoys me.
That makes sense.
That this shit just keeps happening.
It's going to keep happening.
I know. And I hate it. It bothers me.
I mean, I sort of tuned out on the whole thing. I haven't really been keeping track of what's going on now. There was, I guess, a ceasefire.
Yeah, but I think something happened where I just heard about last night. I
course.
think somebody did something.
They always do.
Somebody mouthed off.
Started popping off shots again.
Popping off. Yeah. So I don't know. They got the hang gliders out. I don't know, but I'm a big fan of the live and let live motto.
Right.
But nobody does it.
No. It's not going to work.
It's annoying.
Too many agendas, too much money, too much
Yep.
who knows what taking place out there.
I've always said this also. This is something I came up with. Money is the root of all evil, I think. And this is what all this is about in the end.
I mean, yeah.
All right.
I think there's going to be some religious ideology taking place over there with what's happening right now.
Well,
these people tend to hate each other's guts.
That's the part that bothers me. Like, just let them beat them, do their thing, let them do their thing.
I'd prefer my money not go to either side.
Yeah. Well,
it just keeps
that's a
happening
perfect
too.
world right there.
We don't really have any say in that, though.
No, not at all. None.
Hundreds and hundreds of dollars of every paycheck gets pulled out, goes who knows where.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
It's taxation without representation, man.
Isn't that what this country was built against?
Yeah, right. Yeah, among other things, yeah.
Yeah. The entanglement. What was it?
Foreign entanglements.
Foreign entanglements, yeah.
We're not supposed to be any of those. We're not supposed to have any sort of alliances with any other countries.
Yeah. We're off the rails. This country's gone to hell in a handbasket.
Sure has.
I think what we're both trying to say is bring back Trump, right?
Right.
That's a joke. I'm kidding.
There are no nobody's going to save you, folks. Nobody's coming to help you. It's
you're on your own.
You're on your own, babe. I am, you are, he is, this guy over here.
Yep.
Yet people think they hero worship, Savior complex. Draining the swamp. Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
I'm still hearing about the QAnon. I'm still, that one's still, he's going to get the pedophiles. No, they're not. They're not going to get the pedophiles.
That's still going?
Not the big ones. Not the ones that are up at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
You just wait and see. I've heard that. You seen that one? They're always,
but
just wait. Just wait.
We'll let Earth decide.
I'll keep waiting for your savior. Fix
Yeah.
the problem. Drain the swamp. There's no hope, folks. And on that note, let's call it a day.
I love it.
Until the next episode, huh? You want to do the whole little close out there where you do your little special little thing? Email us. Blah, blah, blah.
You can always get in touch with us. TerriblyVexed.com. You can go there for everything. Instagram, Terribly Vexed Podcast. Gmail, Terribly Vexed Podcast at gmail.com.
Any questions, concerns? Shoot them to us.
Do it through the website. It's simple. The Instagram's right there.
We get quite
episodes are right there.
Yeah.
Messages are right there.
We get quite a few responses there, so we always appreciate those.
I had one that I was going to read, but I lost it. I don't know where the hell it went, and I can't find it in our past messages. So
you were going to read one.
But he was, it was just a guy that messaged us talking about how awesome we were.
Really appreciate that feedback, folks.
Yeah, I'll find him again. I'll read it.
Okay.
Our praise.
Episode
but again,
30.
if you send not praise, if it's a scathing review, we'll read it. Let us know how much you hate us.
Okay.
All right. See you next time then, huh?
See you, bye.